All right, we're here. Just have to get the camera going. Do do do. It's been a busy day. This one.
It is pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I like it. This one. Ah, there we are. All right, fun.
They'll be in the store soon.
Yes,
you can
they
see all the
will.
pictures of them in the release notes.
Yes, these are not yet available. And of course, I'm skipping around on what I'm supposed to be talking about. All right. Welcome. This is the live stream for Shroud of the Avatar, a free-to-play game. This is our 118th monthly release. And fairy circles. Yes, that's what we're looking at. Fairy circles. And basically what they are here, I know I'm jumping around, but this is what you would see. We got yellow, green, red, purple. What else? What other colors?
Blue, orange, and pearlescent.
There you go. Yes. And they'll be up on the Crown Store starting, I believe it's on the 13th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. How apropos. Just in time for Halloween and all that neat stuff. So the Halloween stuff on the store goes live today, so that should be up there. And then the new stuff is going to be coming up in the middle of the month. So basically, the rings are sold as a single ring of mushrooms going around, but we created them, or Scotty created them, and I helped, but he did most of the work, obviously. And we made them flexible enough so that way you could shrink them and grow them and intersect them. So there are literally thousands of possibilities of making them look different and unique and stuff like that. So there you
Mosley asked if they can be placed in dungeons. I actually didn't check.
go. You know what? We can check that right now. I am running the editor, so I will take a look real quick. I'm pretty sure that they can. There. This one.
You just grab one and step into your dungeon and game.
Oh, yeah. No. Guys, I just woke up, so just so you know, I'm going to be more crappy than usual. Alrighty. I'm lucky I woke up on time to do this. So, bottom floor, exterior bottom floor. Yes, they are set. They could go in dungeons and basements. Exterior floor, blah blah blah. Yeah, yeah. They'll be placeable in all those neat places. So
The monthly sleep. Yeah, just about.
yeah, yes, actually, it's pretty true. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this was a quality of life release, and we got some stuff going on in here, and of course there were a lot of bug fixes and everything that were put into the game, and in fact, one of the more complex ones, is the start of our refurbishment of the player vendor uh, inventory loading into the client and stuff. So I understand that there was a bug with that, and Devil Gult has actually made an adjustment. So we will be doing a patch one. There's nothing going on in the game right now that requires me to do a patch today. So I'm going to schedule that patch for Monday. So that way, over the weekend, if there's anything else that comes up, I could get that into the patch, that type of thing. And because I definitely have a few things, there were a couple of maps that didn't quite make it into the door for the release build, and they were done. They just didn't get submitted correctly, so we'll get those in there as well. Go from there. Let me see a few things like fairy circles just talked about. Release 118.
Someone's asking if there are light source as well, which I think they should be.
Yeah, I believe they are. Well, actually, that's a good question. They may not be marked as a light source because, let me see, on my thingy here, where's my light sources? Well, I'll pick one up and I'll see it. What did you say about what?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Wait. Get in the right spot and... Oh, maybe I have my deco turned off. Enabled. Get where it's more plain and
you did
easy
put
for-
handles on them in a few places, but they are still kind of hard to drag.
Yeah, so I might improve that. Yes, they are light sources. Yeah, they are showing up as light sources on my list.
Tegalian, it's a new item.
Yeah, brand new. This is a Scotty artisan item. So, yeah, made by Scotty, and then I helped by putting it together and getting it deployed. So, yeah, hopefully over the next few months we'll have some more Scotty stuff coming into the game as well. All right, so as I said, this is release 118, and the release went smoothly. This is one of our quarterly releases, which means there were a few more steps involved. It took a little bit longer, and it actually took about 40 minutes longer than even expected for a quarter release because I forgot to build something the night before that could have been done ahead of time. So during the release cycle, I had to do a build on some server stuff. So that delayed the deployment, but absolutely nothing went wrong, which was great. During the release, we also now do a listening party in our official Discord. I DJ music and give live updates during the process. So everybody was in that channel got to hear about the fact that I forgot to do this thing as it was happening. But we still went live by 10:30, which is our promised time. So all is well. Going on, we have additions to the Make a Difference store with this release. As you probably heard at the beginning of the stream some electric sword sounds. And we have a pink katana and a pattern pack for that that was added to the store, as well as pink fireflies. And these are all, of course, in support of the breast cancer awareness, which is October is the awareness month for breast cancer. 20% of those sales will go to breast cancer charity. And there's also, coincidentally, there's a green electric sword that should be in the store now, right? I think I did that for immediate release.
Yes, the green electric sword is immediate.
Yeah, so that one's in there as well. That was a wish list request.
As well as the Silver Virtue Krug, which is an old telethon item that never got put in, but is also Scotty artwork.
There you go. Yep. What else did we do? There was more stuff. This was like, it took 4 days to get the store ready. There was so much stuff. Of course, I did pre-populate some stuff for next month as well. So
Yeah. We have all the login and subscriber rewards. We have the Virtue Krug and the Green Electric Sword. And then coming in October 13th, aside from the new Dark Gothic furniture and the Demon Mask and the Spider that are from the sub rewards, we have a Pirate Booty fish tank accessory.
that's right. Yep. Yeah, I really should probably put that
Probably
up.
be good for a skeleton fish.
Yep. I'm gonna head over to Castle Athos. And let me see what else? Oh crap! There's something else I was gonna say with that, but yeah. So also this month we had the Bug Brigade anniversary. There was a party held on the 23rd, I think it was, last Saturday, last weekend. And that worked out very well. Lots of people showed up and had a great time. We had a fishing contest, of course. Gwendolyn Obscuro won first place with a 3.437 ambiguous unit Marlin. Mandalar had a 2.921 sailfish. And Dorn Slate had third place with 2.593 small swordfish. Coswald Dirthmeyer has the honor of the booby prize for the smallest fish. That was an 1.408 amberjack. They got the Master Angler title as well as the trophies, which I think have maybe still being sent out. I'm not really sure if they got delivered or not.
You'll check them this weekend.
Yeah, and in addition, Coswald won the scavenger hunt. As you can see right now, I'm never really fully prepared. Lost my my notes for preparation for the party and the release, and some very helpful players went out throughout Brecon Bay looking for my notebook, and they managed to find it. Coswald was the first one to get there, but Dorn Slate and Belladonna Rose were on his heels. I mean, they were like right behind him. So these have not been sent out yet, but I will be sending out trophies for the scavenger hunt as well. So Coswald, Dorn Slate, and Belladonna will get a first, second, and third. Actually, it'll be a first, and both Dorn and Belladonna will get second place trophies because, I mean, Belladonna and Dorn were right there and discovered the clue that would tell you exactly where to go, and Coswald was just the one to bolt to get there. I watched his stream, and I even made a comment that I really should have did a reaction video to his stream, because his narration of his search for the notebook was absolutely hilarious. It was great.
Oh no, competence, my nemesis.
Yes, exactly. It was, and I sorry, Coswell, but I mean, overthinking is a wonderful thing. It's just like uh, he was searching around the bug boat first, thinking it had to be on the lot, and then I forget exactly what the reasoning was, but he was kind of doing the Nicolas Cage thing, it was like, bug boat, notebook, trees. Okay, it must be under a tree, that type of thing. It's just notebooks are made out of trees, whatever. But he 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 actually did a leap of reasoning initially that he dismissed, that he would have actually just walked over there in 2 minutes and found it if he actually followed through with the leap of reasoning, which by the way was a coincidence. Where I hit it, um, I put it on a lot that was owned by a player by the name of Patches, and he even thought that that was a fake player, that we had done that. But no, that's a real player. And it's he actually looked at the list and said, "Oh, Patches, it's got to be there." But then he decided that it was too I don't know, too obvious or something, and then went out through through the whole process, and ended up doing so. I was very happy. It took 20 minutes, about approximately, to find it, and I was happy with the timing of the whole thing. So um, I've been told I'm ghosted here, so turn off that. All right. Yay, I'm visible now. Okay, so anyway, that worked out pretty well, and of course that's an annual event that we have for the Bug Brigade, and
I'm seeing your screen frozen anyway. Can you tilt your camera, see if things actually move?
okay, it's acting normal on my side as far as OBS and everything.
Yep, I see nothing.
Interesting.
Oh, other people see it moving. Okay, just me then.
Huh. All right. Um. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So the Bug Brigade Party is an annual event. This was our 3rd anniversary. If you want to participate in the Bug Brigade, just send a note. You could send me a PM on the forums, and I'll eventually get in there and set you up. I do have some pending messages in the forums for the Bug Brigade stuff, as well as other things as well. So I've been really busy working on the game, so I will get to all you guys as soon as I can. And anybody who applies and there's a delay, you'll get credit going backwards. So go ahead and post bugs and do stuff. So any activity that you have for the Bug Brigade, once you actually submit the request, will be counted. Just because I'm slow doesn't mean that you have to suffer. So, and of course, this also means I should probably bring up the fact that I owe a lot of people a bunch of Bug Brigade rewards. So I am trying to get that out as well. I was hoping to get those done before the party, but something had actually happened that I needed to address with the game, and took up some time. So anyway, that's that. That's all taken care of. So we'll get caught up and get that going. We are going into our final quarter of the year, and from this next release, release 119, is our final content release for the year. Then after that, it's quality of life for the rest of the time. Because we're going into our holiday schedule, which is basically shorter release cycles and stuff like that as well. We have some stuff on the table that we're going to be working on for that for the last quarter for quality of life, and on the meeting the team meeting that's coming up this week, I'll be making a request to work on some specific things that are need to be a higher priority. So I'm looking forward to this. Actually, some of these quality of life improvements are going to be really good. During this quarter, we also sit down and start talking about the roadmap for next year. And next year is going to be more than likely, and I say this way because we still have to go through all this in our meeting discussions and figure out exactly what we're going to be able to put on the list as to what we're committing to. But it's going to be game balance related. So 2024 is going to be a year where we try to go through the game, figure out all the stuff that's going on, get things more balanced. Once the game is balanced better, we'll be able to add things to the game much easier. And of course, we're documenting everything that we're going, that we're putting, all the balance stuff. We're going to document everything that we're doing, because the game's initial development was a little rushed as far as, or chaotic. I should say, not rushed. So,
What's up with the whole Unity thing?
Well, the whole Unity thing. That's been you're right. It's a whole Unity thing. All right. So, well, there's two aspects to this, and I'm sure that I know that you're not asking for about the one thing, but so yeah, we haven't been able to get our upgrade to Unity 2021 in place. Basically, the size of the team and my taking over the project from Chris has really put a lot on my shoulders, and I've not been able to get a lot of the stuff done that I need to get done for that infrastructure. So again, it's another thing that I need to shift my priorities and try to get that done. If I could get this, if I could get some virtual machines put together and test environments done that we need to get in place to finalize the Unity 2021, then Devil Cult would probably be very happy, and we'll be able to get this thing going. Of course, our estimate was that we were within 2 weeks of getting it finished when we had to stop. But I suspect that it's probably a release or two, especially now since it's been a while since we've actively worked on it. Devil Cult, primarily Devil Cult, but then I was helping him work on the thing as well. We got to a point where we were like, okay, that's it, it'll work, and then we found another bug. So and that kept on happening. So that shifted off a few releases, and then we had to put that aside based on the fact that it was really cutting into our ability to do production work. So once we get the development lab for this 2021, which basically means I have to put up a whole set of servers internally that aren't there yet, in parallel to what we're doing, so that way we could actually continue doing the 2021 work. We'll be able to get that going. If I could get that done during our quality of life quarter, that would be really good. Although Devil Cult, of course, has a major role to play in a lot of the quality of life work. So basically, my target at this point would be to try to get this done for between somewhere around the 1st of December would be my target, to get the development work in place, development infrastructure in place. So then that way we have that 6 week from, I think it's December 12th, somewhere around there, to the end of January. So we have a nice long sprint where it's the end of the year, it's a reset type of thing. And if I get that in place properly, then Devil Cult would have an opportunity to spend some good quality time on 2021, which means we might be able to get it in place by the end of the first quarter of 2024. And yes, we are still going to 2021. The jumping multiple releases, even going from 2018 to 2021, is definitely a lot of effort. And at this point where we are, we need to put 2021 in place because the amount of changes that they've done require us to do that. And then once we're on 2021, we could then look at going to 2022 and so on. As an infrastructure, what I've done in my professional career, we've always stayed one release behind of official releases. So going GA is really not something that we would want to do. What a lot of people would call that is bleeding edge. It's too new. Rather let everybody else soak the stuff, figure out what's wrong before we have to.
And there's another reason not to do that right now because of the recent changes to the licensing
right.
that they announced and then backtracked some on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
We can go to 2021 and the changes will not affect us.
Right.
If we stay on 2018, the changes will not affect us. If we went to 2023, it would not affect us. They announced when they backtracked that it would only start with the 2024 version.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. We said we could go to 2021, and then we could even slide up to 2023. Once we do that, it'll be more of an incremental change. But then, as Allium just said, Unity had this little kerfuffle going on over the last few weeks, which of course we stayed quiet on it because we wanted to see where the stuff would fall on that situation. We were pretty sure as soon as they did it, it was like, okay, this is going to be Wizards of the Coast all over again. They did not disappoint. It was an actual record on the Unity forums, 305 pages worth of input from the developers, including our own developers talking in there. And we wanted to see where that was going to, where we were going to go with that. And just before anybody thinks about it, saying it or asking, no, we cannot change engines easily, so that is not going to happen. So yeah, don't even ask, don't even suggest it. I've seen it in the forums and stuff along those lines. Yeah, Unreal is definitely a tempting engine to go to. Albeit they have residual fees as well and stuff along those lines. And then there's Godot and some other engines out there. But there's right now there's no easy way to move over. For instance, there is a tool that's a few years old to go from Unity to Godot, I believe it was. No, Unity to Unreal. That would convert the scenes. The scenes, of course, being all the prefabs and everything you're seeing on the screen right now, but not the source code. So all the libraries and all the hooks that are specific to Unity would still have to be manually located, debugged, and changed. Yeah, we're as Crossfire just said, you're talking like, it would take a dedicated. I actually started writing up stuff internally for myself as notes, and I would need a team of 10 people dedicated. And this is, most other, development houses would do like 100 people to do this, but we would need a team of at least 10 people, based on the way we work and everything, dedicated for at least a year to try to migrate from one engine to another. And this is assuming that all the features that we've written would still work the way that we've gotten to work. A lot of the stuff that's done in game development is done based on what tools you have available to you, and the feature sets, some things are just like unique to that engine. So yeah, it's a pain in the neck. Anyway, so I'm glad that Unity walked things back to the level that they did. As Allium said, they've stated that it will only affect people who install and start using Unity 2024 and anything going forward from there. That's one of the things that they tried to sneak this in, and they tried to change the terms of service on the older versions of Unity. Hold on a second. We have a wild Sanyo coming in here. It's not letting me add in. All right.
Hello,
Greetings. How are you?
I am late.
Nah, you're fine. We've had plenty to talk about so far, so that's a great thing. We were just wrapping up the Unity debacle conversation. So, yeah, I mean, there's not too much more to really say about it, except that they've stabilized and the plan that'll only affect people in 2024 going forward. And we're safe no matter what we do as far as that is. We're not going to 2024. We won't go to 2024 or consider going to 2024 until 2023 is out of long-term support and well into end of life. That's the engine doesn't really limit our development as much. I mean, we're on 2018, and yes, granted, at this point, we need to get off 2018 because there's limitations. There's bugs that they've fixed in the newer versions, things along those lines.
And no support for the new Apple Silicon line.
Yes, exactly, and that's an example of it, right? So the to support the M1 and M2 chips, we need to get on something that Unity supports that stuff. So 2021, as I understand it, because I haven't touched it, so I'm just going to assume, or I'm not going to assume. I'm going to say that we understand that Unity supports those chips or those build types, which of course means we also have to. Hey, Devil Cult. That means that we're going to have to build another set of builds in Team City.
It might not. The Linux build is a universal target build. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter which chip you're running.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think the new build target for Apple is a universal target.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe it.
The
Maybe not.
current one specifies Mac and Intel.
Right, and that's why I'm saying I'm not sure because uh
Yeah. So it might require another build. It might
right,
not.
yeah, and the situation there because I had a conversation with somebody about that just recently, and because it's Apple Silicon itself. It's a new instruction set, and they themselves have specified that they're not compatible with other stuff. So if it's basically a different kernel type, then we're probably looking at another build that would have to be done. But we'll see. Again, it's something that needs to be figured out when we actually get to that point. First thing we need to do, of course, is get ourselves upgraded to Unity 2021. And again, where I was going was that we could stay there on Unity 2021, at least for like a couple of years. But the plan would be to get to 2021 and then continue, because then at this point we'll have that parallel lab development infrastructure, so we could continue applying updates to that infrastructure to get us to 2023, and we'd be able to do internal testing, make sure everything's smooth and everything before we migrate production over to that. Once we do that, then we'd be able to consistently keep up and stay one major release behind Unity's current release, which would be that's my plan. That's what I would like to see done. Now, of course, based on the policy, this is where it all comes together. The policy that Unity wants is changing for 2024 means that we have to also weigh that and see if we're in a position that it would be viable to go up to 2024. So the point being is that even if we upgrade up to 2023 and stop there because to prevent us with having to deal with this residual issue, then we're still good until possibly 2030 before we run into any issues. And of course, it all depends on what bugs 2023 Unity 2023 has in it. That's part of the source code that we can't touch, right? That type of thing. So that's all very blurry and in the future. So let's get to 2021 first, see where we are, and see how things are going. The game's population is stable. We've had a burst of growth over the last quarter. So if that trend continues, then I don't see I don't even see any problem going to 2024. It's and again, Unity has backed off on their statement and they said this is what we're going to do, but until it's actually in practice, I'm not going to really worry about it, especially since it's not going to affect us for at least 5 years. So, okay, I haven't been monitoring the chat. I hope that answers all those questions.
And Shatul is on screen showing off the new green electric sword.
Ah, yes, there you are. I see that.
Nice.
Turn my camera over to that. Yeah, looks good. All right, let me see what else I have on here. Okay, yeah. So next release. So here we go, Keith. We're now in. Oh, actually, I did all that, and of course I did. This is why I was trying to do bullet list for myself. I didn't do any introductions. So my name is Stephen Reinen. I go by Ravalox in game and on the forums and such. And I'm acting as the operations manager, chief cook and bottle washer, I guess is what they call that. So I do some development work and make sure the servers don't crash and do the builds and all those neat things. With me, I have Keith. You're late, so you get the last introduction. Allium over there.
Hi, I'm Allium. I do release notes and patch notes and bug input, and recently some actual development work. A lot of the small crafting and item bugs the last few months that have been fixed have been me, and I actually made an item this month, some pink fireflies. So it's starting to be a baby dev.
Yeah, it's a junior dev. That's the term. So definitely not a baby dev. Allium.
I also do a lot of rubber ducking for the other guys.
Allium, as usual, is being extremely modest. She's been doing work in the I don't want to say in the database, in the project files for a lot longer than she's actually saying. So, extremely happy to have her working on stuff. It's definitely cool. Looking forward to her expanding her skill set over the coming quarters. Keith, go ahead, man.
I'm Keith Quinn, and I go by Sanio on the forums and in the game. And I'm the Shroud of the Avatar's quest guy and level designer. I make a lot of new scenes and put in the bad guys, and I give them dialogue. I implement the player-own towns and a bunch of other little things here and there. Do we talk about what's the next topic? I don't want to jump ahead.
No, we're fine. So yeah, we've talked about a little bit about what we did in release 118, but mainly it was itemization, fairy circles, the Make a Difference store, things along those lines. So if there's anything you want to add about what went out during 118, that's where we are right now. Plus going over, starting to talk about release 119. So take it, sir.
Yeah, I don't think I had any real big ticket items for this past release. Nothing really visible. I've been working on. So we have what do we call that list? The
Actually, you took out the NPC schedules in a lot of places. That actually has a big effect.
Yeah. So for people who don't know what NPC schedules are, they're I don't really implement them anymore because they can be problematic sometimes. But in a lot of the older scenes, there would be towns where NPCs would be on a schedule. So they'd go from most of the time they'd be like in their workplace, and you can interact with them wherever they work or wherever the main location is supposed to be. And then for a short period of time, roughly around 7 minutes, some of these NPCs they would go to their homes and potentially you could interact with them, but sometimes you could not interact with them because they were off duty. So if they were a merchant, then that was a little bit of a problem. In a few cases, like in Harvest, there was a second merchant, and they would sort of like have switched shifts, so they would never both be off duty at the same time. So at least you like there's the blacksmith in the Harvest. At least you'd always have this sort of blacksmith availability. But in some cases, some terrible cases, like in Central Brittany, you would have an NPC who would go off duty, and they have to go like 5 blocks to one side because schedules were implemented at a time before I also implemented every workplace needed a bedroom like upstairs or next door. So the NPCs who needed to go to bed, our mandate was to make sure that they had a home to go to. They would go like 5 or 6 blocks away, which so instead of like 7 minutes being out of the way, they would have to take a couple of minutes to get to home, and then when they're done, a couple of minutes to get back. So it was even longer. And so NPCs weren't where you expect them to be. And then if you did manage to find them, often they would be off duty and wouldn't want to sell you something. And perhaps they're the only one who could sell you something. So a bunch of that stuff stank. So potentially in the rarest cases, it might be a quest NPC who says he couldn't help you. But that was always a full-on bug. We should never have a quest NPC who should ever say like, I can't help you continue your quest. And that was always a blocker, and still a blocker. So anyway, the explanation of schedules, that's how they were. Some of them were annoying. So I sort of picked up some rules for myself to revisit the schedules. So for the most part, anytime an NPC with a schedule was told to go home, and that home was further away than next door, I just ripped the schedule out completely. So they don't leave their home base anymore. They don't have a schedule. And then any merchant with a schedule, I tried to take away the off-duty component. I might have missed some, but even if an NPC goes upstairs to say, it's like say midnight in the in-game fiction time, or 2 a.m. and they wander upstairs for their 7-ish minutes. I like to think that I took away the off-duty gimmick, so they'll actually still do business with the upstairs, which is a little weird, but it's less annoying. And there were actually 1 or 2 cases where I found an NPC who was a quest character who had a schedule, and I didn't even really look to see too much about it. Like, I just I took it away. There are a few NPCs who are merchants or quests who still have their schedules. If the quest NPC, I forgot his name, in one of the Arger's castles, there's like it's like a high-ranking NPC, and he sort of mostly is in this big empty, like a dining area, and then sometimes he'll walk back to a sort of like a barracks room.
One of the ministers.
Yeah, one of the ministers, and he I let him do that because there's no other NPCs around, and so when you're going to find him, you're really looking for him anyway, and he's in that sort of 1 room radius of where he should be. So I left that as it is. There are a few schedules that people don't know about that I kind of left alone. Like in one town, maybe it's like Braemar or something, there's a group of chickens that will be like in the middle of the town square for most of the time, and then like at night they will wander back to their chicken coop. So there's invisible schedules like that weren't touched. So anyway, hopefully the goal is that players will be less put out by trying to find the NPC that they need. If the NPC doesn't have a quest and is not a merchant, then they have whatever schedule they already had, because they are basically irrelevant except for flavor. like a lot of the background NPCs in Central Brittany, there's a couple like just patrolling residents who just sort of like wander the streets, and then at night they stop wandering the streets and they go to a home. I left them as is. They don't. They're there for flavor, and part of that flavor is them going home at night. So that's fine. Anyway, like I said, it's also like the older towns. We kind of stopped doing that at a certain point. None of the episode 2 Mr. Ender towns have that at all. I do think the schedules have their place, and potentially once in a while I'll put them in, but it will really only be a case where an NPC is mostly, say, downstairs in a shop, and then for just a few minutes he might go upstairs to go to bed. Maybe it might be like some hermit in the woods who wanders around outside his shack for most of the time, and then at night goes inside his shack. So he's really in that kind of like one room away guideline.
Yeah,
So,
an alternative would be to have a day merchant and a night merchant, but then that's double the NPCs.
Yeah, so we, like I said, that's in Harvest with the blacksmith. But the problem with like the double merchants is that I forget all the reasons why. There's like 3 or 4 reasons why. But having, so first of all, there's kind of no need to have multiple NPCs, same merchant type in place. If they're slightly different, say like in a tavern, you sort of have the waiter versus the innkeeper. They might both sell drinks, kind of thing, but maybe there's a little bit of a difference. That sort of is a little bit of a gray area. But to have like 2 identical blacksmiths is awkward. I actually do that in a couple spots, but I'm pretty sure it affects pricing in some way. I don't remember exactly how. But if they're across town, that might be a little different, but that doesn't really help because if you're in the northern neighborhood, like say like Airy, if you're like in Little Xenos versus like sort of entrance town square area, that has its own cluster of characters that is sort of treated completely separate from the town square ones, because you don't really want to go through the effort and time to like run all the way across to see if the blacksmith's available in the other spot. You might take you like a minute or 2 to get to the other spot. You might as well just hang out for like the rest of the off-duty time for the NPC to come back in. But like I said, hopefully he'll actually sort of he or she will still take your business if they're in their home time versus their work time. But there you go. Let me see if anybody has any questions about schedules in the chat. Crossfire Bugseye mentioned likely affects bulk repeat purchase prices. Yeah, the multiple NPCs, that could be one of the things. That was one of the big things. Something affects pricing when you have multiple NPCs that are in the same scene. Multiple NPCs that have the identical merchant style or list.
Let me interject something here. One of the things that I also failed to do at the top of the stream, which should have been done, was to talk about the prize phrase. So, of course, we are doing our usual prizing. The prize phrase this month is pink is for everyone. So say that in-game, in any chat type, universal, whisper, local, zone chat, whatever you want, and that'll enter you into the prize drawing, which we'll be doing at least 2 drawings. And of course, it's already been an hour, almost an hour into our stream, so we're getting ready to do the first drawing. I'm going to give it some time because we failed to mention what the phrase was verbally on stream here.
Oops.
So,
Did anyone ask for it in chat? And plenty of people are mentioning it in Universal, so I don't think too many people missed it.
Yeah, so I'll just give 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure everybody's got the time. I see in game in chat people are now popping up with it a bunch. So we'll do that. So. Okay, cool. All right. So, sorry, Keith. I did put a few topic items in the live streams channel in our chat inside here. So we definitely have more stuff to talk about. But I feel I interrupted you a little bit. So if you want to go back to what you were talking about, that's cool.
No, that was pretty much it for schedules. I was also looking Brazen Spirituality points out the schedules were to give immersion to the merchants and NPCs, and they like the immersion that comes with that, which is true. You know, it's nice to see NPCs shift from work to home. It is one of the things that makes the game feel alive. But then you have to have the balance of, like, it's a 3-part balance, which is how much effort do I have to put into it to make it happen, and it's not trivial. It's not hard, but it takes time, and also does it inhibit the player experience, and that became a problem in the way we implemented it, and then also how immersive does it feel. It does feel pretty immersive. What I wish we did when we first put it in, I wish we had the rules that I've basically sort of adapted over time. The 2-part rules, which is the 2 parts of rules, which are make sure each, like, sort of NPC residence has proper living quarters as part of it or immediately next to it, and also to make sure that quest NPCs don't get affected at all, and merchants are handled with a very light touch, and then any sort of, like, residents or kids or animals just go hog wild. We probably would have had them in more places if we sort of did it like that.
Yes, there are no schoolhouses for the random children of New Britannia. They just run wild all day and night.
We do have an orphanage, at least one orphanage.
That's true.
Although you have to be careful when you go there, because there's a couple of urchins who will actually steal from you if you crowd them up.
Is that the one in Brittany Alleys?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also the bell ringer in Estgard, who rings to let the children know that they have a safe place to go there.
Oh, yeah. And of course, the kids in Harvest, they're just obsessed about the haunted house, so that's probably not safe at all. It's like the opposite of safe in that town.
I don't know. I didn't see any small skeletons in there. They're probably fine.
I'm sure there's kids who go missing all the time in that town.
Yeah. Let me see, where was I? Okay, so vendor caching. I just want to talk about that for a little bit more. Of course, Devil Cult's the one who this was all under the hood stuff that's being done, and I believe this is the first phase of the work that needs to be looked into for this. He's trying to optimize through the whole game. That's again talking about the balance work that we're going to be outlining over the next quarter. Keith, I briefly talked about the fact that we're going to try to focus a little bit more on game balance in 2024, clean up some stuff, which will allow us to implement newer things easier without having to worry about game balance, because once we get the game balance done, then we'll be in better shape there. So part of that also is to optimize the game itself as far as the performance. And one of the things that Devil Cult has done in this last release is gone through the player vendor code, and he started caching the stuff, because we're where the player vendor this is not like if you open up a specific player vendor, it's always going to go and retrieve the current items that are on that vendor. But if you go into a scene, there's an option where you could actually look at all the items on all the vendors in the scene. So that information is not updated on the fly by the game. So we could cache it, and because it's unnecessary to reload it all the time. So right now, the first phase he got in there is to introduce the caching and get the engine working as far as that's concerned. I believe that there's going to be more improvements to the way that works. Right now, there was a bug with it. I think he said something about if you change scenes, it wasn't working the way he wanted it to. So in patch 1 that's due Monday, proposed due Monday, we'll be doing an update on that as well to improve what he has done. But I believe that that's something that's still, there's more to do on the caching as well. I also wanted to just point out that I had we put 15 maps into the game this month, and I have a little bit more than that left. I think there's about 25 maps left total that need to get done. Obviously, this is a long time coming. All the scenes that we currently plan on having maps, I'm being very careful about how I say this, will have maps, we intend to have them to have maps by the end of the year. So, if everything goes well, I mean, I got 15 done this month. If I could spend a little extra time over the next sprint cycle, and of course, I've already put a bunch of stuff on my shoulders for the sprint cycle that needs to get done. But if I could get that done, then I could wrap up the initial phase of the mapping project. Throughout the time that I've been working on doing the maps, I've improved the process. So even maps that Travis List had been doing the maps before I was. I started working on those, I was like a year and a half ago. Through that month to month, I was making improvements on the methodology and the process on creating the maps. I'm now up to a point where my last innovation was actually changing the maps to a higher DPI, which is improving the clarity of the terrain. I'm sure everybody knows if you zoom in on a map, the terrain is a little bit blurry. Well, probably a little bit more than a little bit, but on the newer maps, it's not that bad, and the houses and other objects and things like that are and trees that are in the scene are a lot crisper. This is due to extra processing that I've done on the maps, which of course makes the maps take longer to do. It's not just like taking a screenshot and then throwing it in there. There's adjustments that have to be done, and even with all that said, the LODs that we have in place affect the maps. So in some scenes, the maps are almost just the terrain, because the Unity engine, as it is right now, I'm kind of hoping that in 2021, the range that they allow me to turn off the LODs for trees that are painted in the scene will be improved or increased. But right now, when we go and do the process, basically a good portion of those bushes and trees and other things along those lines are just not there. Obviously, we don't want them to all be there, because then you wouldn't be able to see where you're walking in the scene, because you'd be looking top down on a forest or something, right? But at this point, in some of the maps, they're pretty naked, and I'd like to improve that. So anyway, the phase 2 will be to see what I could do about improving that type of stuff and eliminate some of the manual phases that I'm doing right now for processing. So if I could go into the code and find where where we're actually doing the screenshot portion of making the map, I should be able to increase the DPI from what it is now up to where I want it to be. and that will eliminate a whole step. And anyway, so the point is that just because the maps will all be created for all the scenes that don't, come up say no map present, that doesn't mean we're done. I now still have to go back through it, and that actually phase will take more time per map, but because the amount of time that it took to get all the maps done, processes have been improved. Even though it's going to be more time per map, it's still something that will not be, a big weight on my shoulders and in this, huge effort to try to get this stuff done. And this, again, it's maps that'll be improved as we go along. The part of the second phase, of course, would be to get all the maps to be consistent, as opposed to the old ones that were drawings, to get them all to be the same method or the same type of
Same
map.
style,
Yeah, same style. And this is something that we still need to talk about internally, but I did start working on a Novia one for the overworld, and I'm not sure if we want to change that or not, because there's extra mechanics that would need to be made to allow for names and the POTs and stuff like that. So, yeah. So anyway, overworlds might remain as drawings for at least for the foreseeable future.
That would be an okay differentiation, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. They're stylistic, and those those scenes are not scenes that people are really spending a lot of time on. So the ones where they need to really know where everything is and along those lines are in the adventure scenes. So and again, just to bring it up one more time for those who have not been paying attention. Some of the scenes will not have maps per se, dungeons mainly, anything that's kind of like an interior scene. So, for instance, the Shuttered Eye, which is in the Perennial Coast, the approach to the Shuttered Eye is a scene, and that one has a map, and that's all done. But we will not be doing a map of the floors inside the tower. So if you go into the tower right now, you'll get something that we call a map card, and it basically will have a little sentence of some kind in there that tells you that you've done something with your map. Either you misplaced it, burned it, it got stolen, something along those lines. But it's just an acknowledgement that there is no map. Instead of it saying no map found, we're actually just saying something in there, so that way you know that the game is intended. It's not a bug.
Yeah, and that's not new.
Yeah.
Right from the start, we've all our dungeons and catacombs and all the nested scenes like that haven't had maps, and the intent was to not have maps.
Right. There was an experiment, actually. There are two scenes that, or I shouldn't say two scenes, two dungeons that have maps. And I'm not going to pull them out. I'm going to leave them there. We made a design decision. This was a long and hard discussion, but one aspect of it is that, I mean, if we make maps for the way our maps are made today for dungeons, then it's an exploit. You could just go in there and scroll through the whole thing and then plot out your
there's extra
path.
secret areas too, so you'd have to do a lot of manipulation. Plus, a lot of our dungeons are like multi-level, and really have a great way of sort of like showing that you're like in the lower level versus the upper level if the
right.
maps.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, one day, maybe with Unity 2023 or something like that, we'll be able to do Fog of War for the dungeons, which will make it viable to actually go back and do mapping to map the dungeons for you guys. But in the meantime, it's definitely in the spirit of Ultima that you should have a notebook, pen and paper, guys, and map out where you're going if you can't find your way through a dungeon. But that's where we are right now. So just to say, that's our official stance and what we're doing. If we could get the Fog of War technology put in, then we could probably look at doing something better for that, so the game has some way of doing it without you being able to, track where you're going. This way you'll be able to see your surrounding area or something along those lines. But anyway, yeah. So that's about that, and yes, it is. It's Ultima 4 version 2. Okay, I'm gonna actually pop back over to where my fairy ring circle forest is.
What was the phrase again? The phrase you have to type.
Oh yeah, that's right. The phrase, yeah, pink is for everyone. Is the phrase pink is for everyone? And you're right. We're actually due now. It's been another 15 minutes, so we could go ahead and run a prizening. I'll run the first prizening now, and if anybody's hearing this for the first time, say in game, only in game. Pink is for everyone, and make sure you spell pink right. I see some weirdness there. And you'll be entered in. So we'll do one drawing now, and we'll wait a few minutes, and we'll do a second drawing. Drawing done. As I said, I'm going to zone back over because in the beginning of the stream, I was showing off the fairy circles that we did.
Nice.
I want to show them off again. And yeah, I barely made it on time. Well, we weren't. Stream started a few minutes late. Well, almost. Well, it's almost normal. It's pretty much normal that it start late. I got a little bit of sleep before the stream, and I slept through my alarm, so I definitely was lucky that I woke up on time, or close to on time. Where is this stupid thing? There it is. Okay. Okay, running price. Okay, get that going. Now go here.
So while you're doing stuff, I'll mention that what I'm working on now. So I'm trying to put some attention to our Shroud of the Avatar roadmap plans. So this past release, a big chunk of it was me working on a special tutorial scene. There's some bugs that still need to be worked out. I think it'll go live next release. There shouldn't be an issue with it. Basically, it sort of focuses on, I call it the inventory tutorial, and it is the experience will be you will go to a helpful automaton NPC like the one in Castle Atos, and once this scene comes in, I'll probably put in more helpful automatons throughout the world in towns. And you'll ask them about the tutorial. They ask if you want to go there. You teleport to the scene, and it's like a small runes that could exist on the outside of any town, and you will get a lot of text. So there'll be a lot of explanations, but there'll also be some hands-on work. It'll teach you about putting stuff into your hotbar. It'll mention what containers are. Talk about keys and locks. It'll talk about ownership and stealing, and about books that can be opened up or looted. You have two options for a book that's, say, on the table. I'll go over resources and harvesting, and I think that all should take place within like a 10-minute period. I have all the structure in stuff in. There's a couple of mechanics that don't work exactly how they should, and once this release right now is sort of settled, I'll be able to check in some changes for my testing to see if some of those quirks actually sort of resolve themselves. Sometimes that kind of thing happens once all the assets are in the actual, once they're checked in and real, they seem to work a little bit better. And it should, I think it's, for most people, it should be around a 10-minute deal. You'll get a little reward at the end. The reward will include a title, besides like a little bit of golden experience for your time. A title, which is good student, and it's a one-time tutorial event in the sense that it's like a quest. It has a start and a finish, and then that's it. But you'll be able to go back there if you want and sort of like just explore the area. It'll be an area I'll probably reuse for other tutorials that might happen in the future. I don't know if they'll be as elaborate. This one was super elaborate. Took a lot of time, a lot of like little pop-up hints and stuff like that. So anyway, that's what I've been working on with that. And then I'll sort of get back, once that's sort of out of the way, I'll start to get back to like the usual new scenes and quests situation. Although I will also spend some time trying to do a better job of behind the scenes planning for our codex, which will kind of be like an in-game encyclopedia and player guide. I need to sort of have like a solid plan that I can pass off to Devil Cult, David, and then he'll sort of make some UI elements and figure out the difficult task of how I will make entries that go into the system, and then you will be able to read it sort of like a journal, but it'll be like out of character stuff and hyperlinks and things.
Can I interrupt a second?
Yep.
Stephen, did you place those on potlands or on a lot?
Oh, these are on potland.
Okay, because you can see those lights from a long way away, and I would think that they would cut off if they were on a lot. Just checking.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, there's some improvements that could probably be done here. Setting up an LOD on them. Right now, there's no LOD, and that's it. As I was walking away, I was like, "Oh, damn, there's no LOD," and I gotta do that. But
Are they considered light sources? Will they count against the light source count?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are. Oh, yeah. Look, the light sources have LODs on them, so they are disappearing.
Okay, good.
Hey, good. 3 cheers
That's
for
a long
reusing.
distance, but there is one. Good.
Yeah, exactly. It could be changed, obviously. But 3 cheers for reusing assets. So there you go.
They look good.
Yeah,
I know there's a couple of spots in our game where we have a couple of makeshift fairy circles with the, we have a different mushroom asset that was placed, but they're not covered like these with like these nice sort of fairy colors.
Yep. Yeah, this is all Scotty stuff too, of course. And what he did was he used the beam of light stuff from the
the devotionals.
Yeah, the devotionals. Thanks, I couldn't think of a word. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy with it because I like one of the things
they
I
really
think
work well together when they're overlapping too.
Exactly. Yeah, the overlapping thing. What I did was the collision is basically just a flat, has
tiny
no height.
little square or something.
Yeah, exactly. I put bars across around the circle itself and go to one of the like that.
Yeah.
So
so every decoration needs collision.
Yeah,
that's what you grab, and the collision needs to be like at ground level. But it doesn't have to match the actual thing that you're trying to place. So you did like trick. It sounds like pretty good.
Since recent improvements, though, if it didn't have collision, like a few of our deco plants don't have collision because they're just plants that you walk through, you can still grab them from the deco palette.
I see.
Yeah. So right now the you can see here is like it's turning green for me in specific locations. But I can't grab it everywhere. So there's still I think there's still some improvements I could do that'll make them better. But the methodology that I'm using here is, Allium said, we'll probably be able to apply that to some other things as well. That'll make it so you can walk through the stuff and still be able to grab it and do everything you want to do. So
how many colors do we settle on?
Total of 7.
Oh, 7.
Yep. The 3 primary, 3 secondary, and then the pearlescent
Oh.
one.
Yeah, I had to come up with a name with that. It was tagged chromatic, which
Yeah.
Pearlescent sounds good.
Yeah. And
The black ones, the rotting ones.
no, right. Well, they can always come out later.
next Halloween.
Yeah. So the circle, I mean, it's a single circle like this, and all these variations are just me adding more circles, shrinking them or growing them. Because they're scalable, just like everything else. Pretty much, it's not like you have to go and buy different size rings or configurations. The player can do all this on their own.
So where can you place them?
Everywhere. They're only on first floor. No, it's not only on first floors. It's
So it's in pots.
Yeah,
Right?
in pots, on lots, in basements, dungeons. Technically, you can even do it in your house.
So it could be like you go in your house and you have like a nice stone or wood floor. You could just drop it right there in the living room.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I guess what I'll do is I'll go over and do that.
Crossfire
Black
Bugs
Light
says-
Fairy Circle summons teenage Spencer's employees.
Yeah. Crossfire Bugs Eye said they should have tiny houses in them for the fairies. Maybe that's another future thing, like a tiny fairy house, or like a garden gnome size house. Maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I got kicked out because I got a lot of decorations on this lot.
Yeah.
Come on. All right, there we go. All right.
Merc Dragon asks, what effect will those circles have on someone wearing a fairy belt? I don't
Nothing.
think there's no interconnection.
Yeah. These are deco only. They don't have any special properties.
Someone asked about making portals out of them too, which I think would be neat.
Yes.
I think I mentioned that.
Yeah, I am not.
I mean, the players also mentioned that, but I mentioned it.
Yeah, I am not in favor of putting the blue swirly on this thing. So, I'd like to figure out a better way or an alternate, I should say, indicator that it's
to indicate that it's a teleporter and not just the deco version.
Exactly right, and something a little bit more subtle.
Can you? I'm trying to anticipate player questions. Will you be able to put these like on top of pavers, rugs, tables?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they should be able to.
Tables as well?
Well, let's see.
I don't know if we have a table that would be big enough to sort of accommodate even like a shrunk one. But
yeah, that's a good point. Let me. I have a.
Can I turn it sideways and put it on the wall?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, these are floor only. Yeah, this will be a good test, and they probably won't. This probably won't work. Oh, look at that! It does. It's a little off, but yeah. So, yeah, I set them up as decoration.
Wow.
Display item and display item container. So, well, actually, I don't know if they're containers, but yeah, they definitely can be done.
So
they'll work on pavers.
Will have to be attentive because you don't. I mean, I guess you might want, but you probably don't want those mushrooms hanging off the edge of something.
Yeah, that's this is the reason why they're doing that. Like on this table, is based on where the collision center is. I mean, as with most things in the game, the player. It's up to the player to use, good taste. To
Can you put things on top of the mushrooms?
That I don't think so. Let's try that. If that's the case, that needs to be fixed because
Yeah, if you've got a Kodo in your inventory, that should be small enough, or one of those ice cubes.
One of these ice cubes.
Pure elemental ice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can. I mean, it's like it's not going to go on top of the mushroom itself, right? Because the way this is made,
Right, which is kind of what I meant. But if
yeah,
you can sort of like overlap it within the mushroom area,
right,
within
which
the circle,
is, yeah,
that's nice.
that's a good thing. Yes, I think that's good because
Yeah.
then you
Put
could
it on top of mushrooms. That'd be kind of weird. Can you stack a mushroom on a mushroom? Oh, you actually did that. You
right,
have
right,
overlap.
yeah, and they don't stack, but they'll interleave with each other.
Yeah.
So
The cat
yeah,
dude says, "Oh no, your house has mold."
yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, no, we'll do them in houses because that could happen. And then of course you might want to be able to sacrifice your chicken. So
Yeah. How small in the does it shrink? What's the scaling?
I think that's currently the smallest. Let me see what we got.
I
It,
think
it,
you made it 0.7 to 1.3.
yeah, its scaling is goes a little bit smaller than normal stuff and a little bit larger.
Okay.
But that's the actual smallest, and uh, that's the largest. So that's your range right there.
That's good. So the effects don't scale though, right? I'm sure because we don't have any system to scale effects.
Well, I mean, if you see, I don't know if you could see it, the lines here, the effects are scaling.
Are mm, really, or are there multiple effects, or is it just like one beam in the middle? Because
Well,
if there's multiple effects and each one is sort of like anchored at a different point, then potentially they sort of just move away from each other. But if it's one effect, it shouldn't be
right. I mean,
scaling.
technically, it's multiple effects because we have the fog swirling fog in here, and then the light beams, but let me see. Well, here I'm going to slew back to the forest, right? So it'll be more obvious out there. Heh, if I can remember where I put them.
Hmm.
Geez, I don't remember where I put them. This is. I find my house. All right, now I know where I am, and I think they were over. I think it was over in this area, but who knows?
Small reminder,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a member of our subscriber program, you get the items on the first login with the new release every month. But the other items that you will get, like kodos and die packs and titles and such, those happen whenever in the month your sub actually renews.
So
That's good for you individually, not
if you
the first
subscribed
day of
on the
the release.
18th, then that's when you get all those additional things on the 18th.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna do. What am I doing? That's interesting.
Oh, in the theme of decorations, I'll also mention that the Courage Club, the coins that I have, I think they didn't get in last time. I did some tweaks to the effects on those, so they should be a little bit more brighter and distinct from each other. Particularly the bronze coin should be a little bit more orange, and the gold coin effect should be a little bit more yellow, to sort of push the distinction from them. Because some people mentioned that they were too similar. The coins themselves haven't changed. It's just the effects that were added to them have changed.
Find some place where this will work. So, yeah. So if you're looking at this, I mean, I don't know. To me, it looks like the effects are growing, but maybe not. Maybe. I mean, you can't
Because
tell.
even when effect object might scale, the effects themselves are independent of
Right.
the
Well,
object.
yeah, I mean, on this one here where I made it smaller, I could see that the VFX are outside of the mushroom ring. But it
Yeah.
works very well for the mushroom ring. So
Yeah, as long as you sort of like clamp that scaling to something reasonable so that the effects sort of work well for whatever the size, then that's pretty good.
right.
The only thing that might be, and of course, I need to account for the fact that when you guys put in some change that I didn't know about, that somehow miraculously makes effect scale.
Gotcha.
But if the effects were separate pieces, and like one was say like on the I'll call it the north side of maybe there's an effects in the center and an effects in the north side and effects in the south side of that piece. Then when you stretch the piece, the north and south ones move away from the center, and you fake the whole thing sort of getting bigger. But I don't think we do that anywhere else. I think most of our decorations really just have one effects or one effects object. Which could have
I
multiple
have
effects.
I have noticed though that if I scale the placement box for a set of fireflies,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't scale the size of the fireflies, but it does scale the range over which their paths travel.
So some
So you
effects,
can keep them very local or spread them over a wide area.
yeah, effects sort of work out in different ways. Most effects are sort of just sort of projecting from a point. Some actually sort of happen in a box. So the firefly one might happen in within a shape, which is probably a cube. And I'd have to check, but maybe that cube grows, which allows the fireflies to spread out. So potentially that could be happening there. But I'm not sure. I'm not an effects guy. I just know like when I try to fiddle with effects or reverse engineer somebody else's trick, this is what I've seen to be the truth. The truth for my work, which I assume is the same for decorations, but I shouldn't assume too much. Maybe there's differences. Coswald says my favorite is that you can scale the animal spawners and get tiny little deer or massive thumping rabbits.
Okay, we have the prizings run for the first two prizings. Since we're going on for some time here, probably run more. Well, can't say probably. Now I've said it partially. I'll say we're gonna run a third one. So, guys, throw in your "pink is for everyone" phrase in game one more time, and we'll do one more drawing on the prize bot before we end the stream, so that'll probably be a little while. Okay, I'm going back up here. So, Ali, you were just talking about the thing with the subscriber rewards. So the Kodos thing is dealt with. I was actually distracted, so sorry. Okay, good. Let me see. Was there anything else I needed to talk about? No, I think we are actually pretty much getting up to wrap up time here, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh well. Talking about next month, did we talk about anything that's coming up with our content release?
We did not. Do we
For
want to
next,
spoil things?
I did mention my inventory tutorial.
Yeah,
Well,
that type of stuff. No, we don't want. We definitely don't want to spoil stuff that we want to be surprises. But I know there's always stuff that we do have kind of like on the plate that we want to give hints about. So I actually, in that case, I think we're good. I'm just gonna run a third prize bot. We'll give it just a minute here. I see a bunch of people entered some prizes, prize phrases, so we'll get that done.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap things up for this month. So again, as usual, I am all over the place myself. I'm a little bit more disorganized than I usually am. But I think we pulled this off, and then we'll see you guys next month as well. Okay, so I'm gonna do the prizes.
Tyson says Courage Club Pones. Thank you very much. I'm pretty proud of Courage Club and the big revision that I put in.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna do the drawing now for the third and last prizing. Then we'll read off the winners. And of course, we'll do a raid before we sign off. Okay, that prize bot is working a lot better now that I moved it. I moved it onto a different server so it didn't have any risk of conflict, and it is definitely working a lot better. In fact,
And I don't see any duplicates.
I know, and this is like I don't even know if I should say that out loud. This is like the third month that there's been no duplicates, and I think it might have been me moving it to the new server that did that. So there might have been something screwed up on the original server that it was on, instead of just not being the code. I thought when I looked at the code, I was pretty sure that there was a problem with the code, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's looking good. So,
Nice.
let's just check something here, and we'll go ahead and read off. Does anybody want to split? Does anybody want to split?
Sure.
The things. Okay. All right. Which would you
We
like?
do the names as punishment for showing up late.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So, Allium, do you
All right.
do you guys want to do
I'll
it?
read the prizes.
All right. Awesome. Great. Go for it.
Our initial first prize I want to say, but that's just it's the 0th prize in the array, is a hay cart.
And this, I'm doing all three, right? You didn't
Yep.
do any before. Okay. So that goes to Alexa, Sigalian Ashgard, and Frigg Dasgard. Similar names. No relation, I guess.
An autumn leaf mask.
Goes to Hugo Muley, M-U-L-L-E, as well as Trokip McLaren and Dices.
A sunflower flower bed.
One of those goes to Galorn Hammerthrow, another to Shawnee Dethardus, and Coswald Dirthmeyer. It's a third.
An ornate leather quiver.
That goes to Azorian Dufresnes, Prankster Fan, and Sumo.
And a 3-pack of pink fireflies.
Nice. Dr. Hernbrand gets one of those. CC gets another one of those, and Randus Greyhawk gets one as well. Congratulations, everyone.
Yay! Prizes.
Those names weren't terrible.
No, not bad. So, yeah. All right, cool. All right, awesome. All right, well, it's funny. So next month we have content release R119, and we will try to do some more Q&A focus type of stuff during the next stream. That was actually one of the things I was thinking about doing for this stream, but as I said, didn't have enough time to prepare. My mind was a little foggy when I started the stream anyway, so I had plans, but they fell out of my head while I took a nap. But so for next time, I do want to do a like an Ask a Dev type of base stream, and I think next stream we have the content, so we'll talk about that stuff, and then we'll do a bunch of Q&A. So that should get us going from there. Okay, with all that said, Coswald Dirthmeyer is, of course, once again the person who's streaming the game right now. So we'll go ahead and raid Coswald. Guys, can you see his strategy? Hint, hint, hint. So, all right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for playing the game. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. And thanks for spending time with me while I'm doing the release and playing music in Discord. That's really been a lot of fun for me so far. This was the 5th month of doing it, and we had a lot of people coming into the channel and listening to music and getting live updates as I was doing the different steps and during the software deployment. So definitely we'll be continue doing that. The last Thursday of the month is when we do release. It starts at 8 a.m. Central Time. So if you're up and around, please join us in Discord and get to hear some tunes and be the first to know what's going on. I'm also taking requests, so if you have any requests, just tag me in Discord with songs that you want to hear, and I'll do my best to include those in the set. All right. Anything that you guys want to say on exit?
Nope. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yep. Have a nice night.
Cool.
I said nope, and I said something.
Okay, we've got the raid going, waiting for the countdown. So we're good to go. All right, awesome. All right, here we go. See you later, guys.
Bye.